I think it's safe to say that as readers, we generally tend to prefer to go to physical bookshops and support independent bookshops than to buy online on Amazon. However, we understand that it's not always feasible to go to a physical shop. You might not have one in your area. It might be a lot more expensive than online, and you might need something or want something quickly. So we figured we might make a short video to give you some options that might be good alternatives to buying on Amazon.
Also, I'm just sick and tired of talking about fucking Amazon. Welcome back to Story 2.
We sat down to think about essentially online bookshops that we use, and we assess them for whether they're independent or not, or the grade of independence that they have, for their price point and how it is compared to Amazon. Obviously understanding that you can't really beat Amazon on prices, and how their delivery is, like where do they deliver and how expensive is it to deliver, as well as how quick it is, I suppose.
This is just going to be a little list of online bookshops that we use. Some of our personal favorites. We are not in any way affiliated with these online bookshops. We just want to give them a shout out and raise some awareness for them. And we're just going to christen them the Anti-Bezos Bunch.
We'll leave links to all of the shops that we mentioned down in the description.
The first one I'm going to mention will come as no surprise, at least where it's from, because it's an Irish one. And it's probably my favourite online bookshop.
Yeah.
And that is Kenny's Bookshop. Kenny's.ie is the web address that I use. Kenny's is a bookshop out in the west of Ireland in Galway. And funnily enough, it will come as a actual surprise to some people. They were one of the first online bookshops in the world. They have had a website fulfilling orders since 1994. And the cool thing about this place is that it was first established in 1940, I believe, and they ship to over 120 countries worldwide. Free shipping in Ireland, baby. And the coolest thing about them is that they often have better prices than Amazon. Here anyway, and for the EU anyway. I think the prices are the same worldwide. It just might depend then on the delivery cost if you're in the States or in Australia or something like that. But I think you have more information about that. The cool thing about Kenny's is that it's a family-owned business, and it's been a family-owned business since it was established in 1940, the Kenny family. Again, we are not affiliates or employees, and we are not being sponsored by Kenny's right now, but we really love the place. And if you send them a funny email, if there's ever a problem with your order, you get a personalised response from the crew. I remember I once ordered a Star Wars book and they sent me the wrong one. So I sent them an email saying something about, there was a disturbance in the force. You guys sent me the wrong book. And they replied in kind with something like, we'll be sure to bring back balance for you. So they're good people. And I'm sure you have more information about delivery costs and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, it's free delivery in Ireland no matter how much you're spending. To deliver to France, it's €3 per book. To the US, unfortunately, it's $9.50 per book. And to the rest of the world, it's €2 per book. So honestly, I think if you're in Ireland, it's kind of a no-brainer because they ship pretty quickly. It's free delivery and they often price match Amazon or are only €1 or €2 more expensive than Amazon. They also have a really big warehouse out in the west of Ireland. So they will say under each title how quickly it typically ships. If it says it ships in 1 or 2 days, that means it's in their warehouse. And if you're in Ireland, you'll actually get it in 1 or 2 days. It's really fast. And then it says like 5 to 8 days. And that's pretty reliable. Again, if you're in Ireland, and I assume in the EU, it'll be like a similar shipping time.
For any Irish viewers, they have a deal with An Post, the National Post Service in Ireland. So it will be with you really, really quickly. It says on their website they have over 1 million new, used, rare books and exclusive editions in their warehouse. But because it's an online shop, If you order something online, they don't have it in the warehouse, they will source it for you. It'll just take a little bit longer.
Yeah. And one more cool thing is that sometimes, specifically for rare Irish books like Irish history, Irish folklore, that kind of thing, because they have a pretty big collection and a secondhand collection as well. They sell secondhand books. So sometimes you can find out of print books on their website that you can't really order anywhere else. And when I used to be a bookseller in a different place, sometimes I would get customers asking for a book that we didn't stock, couldn't source, couldn't find it on Amazon, and sometimes I could find it on Kenny's. So it's always worth a shot to see if they might have it.
The inception of this video was actually buying on Kenny's, and the fact that in Ireland, Amazon have just opened a warehouse in the last 2 weeks. So for the first time, we have an Amazon Ireland website, and that is going to spell danger for a lot of independent bookshops in Ireland, which we care about deeply. We understand that if you live in the US, paying $9.50 delivery is going to be a bit of a slap in the face. Tariffs, baby. But we'll have more options for you, don't worry.
That brings us to the second bookshop that we wanted to highlight in this video, which might be a better option if you're in the US than Kenny's, and might also be of interest to you if you are upset about the disappearance of Book Depository, which was, as you might know, a worldwide online bookshop that was unfortunately owned by Amazon, which wasn't made very clear. So this one is not owned by Amazon. It is independently run. It is an online bookstore, and it's called buscalibre.com in the US and South America, and bookdelivery.com in Europe, and I think Australia as well. It was founded...
I think it's also Busca Libre in Spain as well, obviously. I think in the US it might be both. It might be bookdelivery.com and Busca Libre.
When you click on it, it's on US, it brings you to Busca Libre, but maybe if you change the language, it's Book Delivery.
Either way, it's the same company.
Interchangeably, and then you can click what country you're in, and they'll deliver to you.
Delivery for bookdelivery.com, at least for us in the EU, if you spend over $29.99, which I do regularly on books, you get free delivery. Anything under €29.99, I think it's like £3 delivery, something like that.
That might vary from country to country, but it's a pretty low, like one-off delivery charge as opposed to how Kenny's do it, which is like by book.
Yeah.
It is from Santiago, Chile. It was founded in 2007.
Viva Chile!
Is an independent private company ever since. Another bonus on this one is that they have books in different languages, mostly English and Spanish, but I have also managed to find books in German there, so it's also worth a shot for that.
It's also been great for me buying some floppy American paperbacks, because you guys in the US have supremely floppy paperbacks compared to our inconsistent, some are stiff, some are floppy paperbacks here in Ireland. We get UK editions. So I've been buying some Percival Everett and various American authors that I like in floppy paperbacks on bookdelivery.com.
It's a nice option to have. I'd say price point wise, it's a little bit higher than Kenny's. They don't price match Amazon, but it will be cheaper than your local bookstore. I
think out of all the sites we'll mention here, Kenny's, at least for Ireland, the EU, and even maybe to Australia or Canada, it will match or beat Amazon for price. Quite often, it actually beats Amazon for price for me. So just another shout out for Kenny's, because I love them. The next one we'll mention is actually not an independent one, but it might be one that everybody is kind of familiar with, and that is Blackwell's. Blackwell's is actually owned by Waterstones, which is also owned by some hedge fund guy from the US who also happens to own Barnes & Noble. So you get the idea. Big billionaire balls. Blackwell's, however, they do have very good prices. They have excellent selection, and they forego the delivery price, or at least they build it into prices of books. But they are very reliable. They're also quite speedy. So Blackwell's is a good option as well.
Because they do free delivery, their prices are a little bit higher. I'd say on average, they're probably a bit higher than the ones on book delivery slash Busca Libre, so the highest of the three.
I find the free delivery thing is a bit of a gimmick because they just build it into higher prices.
To be fair, they do say delivery is included in the prices.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's the priciest option of the three, but if you're buying only one book, say, and then getting free delivery on it, it might be worth it, or depending on what you're looking for. I think the biggest downside to it for me personally is that it's not actually independent. Like you said, like Waterstones is not even just Waterstones, like it's a huge corporation. Still better than Amazon because at least they do have physical bookshops and we don't want those to go away. But I personally prefer, obviously for us, Kenny's is very easy, or Busca Libre. But I still think this is a good option if you want an alternative.
And lastly, but certainly not least, we have two websites to mention for any comics readers that we may have reached on our channel. Us being comics readers and purveyors of good comic book collections and like collected editions. There are two websites, European-based websites, that I think are great. I'll give a one at the end as well for you guys in the US. But there's two based in Europe that source comic books, Western comics and manga. And one is comicsbugle.com, which is based out of Slovakia. And they tend to have very good deals, and you can get some delivery discount codes if you follow some comics channels. They generally have a lot of partnerships and sponsorships with some comic book centric channels on YouTube. Near Mint Condition, Gem Mint Collectibles, those kinds of channels on YouTube would have like discount codes and stuff for Comics Bugle. And also waltzcomicshop.com, which is based out of Berlin, Germany. So these are good options for people living in the EU who want to get some good comic book collected editions like we do. And for you guys in the US, the number one place right now is Organic Price Books for comics. Organic Price Books also, like I mentioned, has a lot of sponsorships and partnerships with some of the biggest comic book channels here on YouTube. So I'm sure you'll find little discount codes and stuff on those channels to use there too. And I think that's it.
Like you mentioned, the impulse and the instinct, the motivation to make this video came from the fact that Amazon Ireland is now a thing. They have a warehouse in Ireland. We no longer have to pay delivery fees that we had to pay before. It's very easily accessible, and it's threatening a lot of independent bookshops. We are lucky enough to have a lot of independent bookshops in the country, and in Dublin especially as well, and we don't want to lose them. And obviously it's understandable that Amazon have the best prices. They're extremely fast. It's very, very convenient, not just for books but for basically everything. So you can't really blame the customer for using Amazon.
We recognize that it's a point of privilege as well to be able to maybe spend an extra euro or two on these things, and go to a brick and mortar store or one of these other independent online stores, or an online store not affiliated with Amazon. However, especially for people in the EU or Ireland, Kenny's beats Amazon on price, so you got no excuse.
It's all about the knowledge of where to go as well. So this is not saying that if you buy on Amazon, you're a bad person and you should only use any other shop. But if you do have the possibility to not buy on Amazon and the means, then here are just some options that you might be interested in. Even not every single time, but if every other purchase you buy somewhere else, and that's a different business that you're supporting. And we want to avoid Amazon having a monopoly if we can.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, not shaming anybody who uses Amazon. We use Amazon for sort of household items and stuff like that, because sometimes you need a new toilet roll holder and it will arrive tomorrow. That kind of shit. It's grand. It's all good.
Something that I want to mention actually about books specifically, because you mentioned that for Amazon, the thing as well, and like why they're able to bring down the prices so much, is that they're their own warehouse and shop, and like so
And delivery service.
and delivery service. So like they are pocketing a much bigger share of the price than when you're buying your book anywhere else. Cool.
If you guys have any other websites or online bookshops that we are not aware of, please let us know in the comments. If you have heard or bought from any of the ones that we've listed, especially Kenny's, do let us know in the comments. What have you purchased lately from Kenny's? If any employees of Kenny's bookshop find this video, leave us a comment. Say how are you?
This is really just an ad for Kenny's.
Yeah. I'm not hunting for a job at Kenny's or anything like that, but like I think yous are sound. So yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if this is the first video I've ever found us on, and see you later.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.